Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mary Trong, and tonight's VATV show is September 25th, 2013. We would like to give you some community events announcement because we're waiting for our guest, City Council at Large, Ayanna Pressley. She is on her way, but in the meantime, I would like to give you some basic information. As you already know, that VATV is the voice of Vietnamese American from the greater Boston area, and it is sponsored by VATV, which is Vietnamese American Initiative for Development. You can follow our program live on every Wednesday from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. On the BNN TV network via cable Comcast Channel 9 and RCN Channel 15, and also online at www.bnntv.org. This evening's program will be repeated 3 more times on Sunday at 5 p.m. and on Monday at 1 p.m. and on Tuesday at 11 a.m. You can always call in whenever you have a question or you want to talk to our guest speaker by calling in at 617-708-3290. And you can always contact us at email vatv@vidate.org or call in at 617-822-3717. And the community events announcement tonight, we have basically 4 events. First, at Fuse Corner, there will be Fuse Corner in Dorchester. There will be a Fuse Corner Civic Association meeting, which will take place on next Monday, the 30th of September, at St. Ambrose Family Shelter. The address is 25 Leonard Street in Dorchester. Please join us in talking about forming the Fuse Corner Civic Association. As you already knew or might not be aware of, that the Fuse Corner Civic Association has been gone in the last 4 years, and the community of Fuse Corner now would like to reform. So we would like to invite you once again to come and join in if you are a resident of Fuse Corner, or if you work or you live in Fuse Corner. Again, the meeting to formalize Fuse Corner Civic Association will be on September 30th, next Monday, from 6:30 until, I believe, until 8:30. Again, the address is 25 Leonard Street in Dorchester. If you have any question, you can always contact VATV at the number I gave you, 617-822-3717, to inquire more information. Thank you. The second announcement is VATV will have its 11th annual fundraiser called the My Gala. This will be on October 5th, which is next Saturday, from 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. at the IBEW, address 256 Freeport Street in Dorchester. Please join us. And if you have any questions regarding to this event, please call 857-919-7153, or you can email at gala@vid8.org. Also, Dorchester House will have its 3rd annual Masquerade Ball on November 2nd at UMass Boston Student Campus Center. So please call at 617-740-2419 for questions. Thank you so much. And now we are so honored and happy to have our City Council at Large, Ayanna Pressley. Welcome, please welcome City Council at Large, Ayanna Pressley. Good evening. So I am just so happy for you that you made it as the highest voted, City Councilor for the re-election effort last night for primary.
Yesterday were the preliminary elections.
Yes.
Both for mayor and city council at large, and also district races.
Yes.
I'm very humbled to be the top vote getter in that race. But
yes.
the general election is 6 weeks away, so there's still much work that remains to be done. But I'm very, very humbled, by the confidence of voters in the city.
Well, I think it's very, very important to have a female's voice at the city council.
Yes.
So that's why you get the most vote, and I'm not surprised. So you will continue to be reelected. No worries about that.
Well, so just keep working hard. Just keep working hard.
Okay. So if I may ask you several questions,
Please do.
and of course, one of the most important questions I think is you have been a city council at large for the past 4 years. So
Yes.
what have been the proudest achievement that you have made?
Oh, wow. Well, first, being elected, I'm very humbled and proud by that.
Yes.
Proud of that, rather. And so I'm running for election to a third term.
Yes.
I am currently the only woman on the council.
Yes.
And the first woman of color elected in the council's history. And I think that's relevant in that my presence on the council has brought a different perspective. And that perspective is certainly formed by my experiences as a woman and as a woman of color.
Yes.
And so what I'm proudest of is that I've raised the consciousness and brought a level of focus and advocacy for issues that were previously ignored, like teen pregnancy and domestic violence and sexual violence. Really in broad strokes, my work has been about breaking cycles of poverty and violence in every form. Homicide, domestic, sexual, and also working just to reduce trauma in all of our communities. So I think what I'm proudest of is working on issues that I consider to be neighborhood transcendent, that really impact us all. I represent all 22 neighborhoods, so I feel that's my charge and also my challenge as a citywide elected official to work on those issues that are really relevant and impacting everyone.
Right.
And to work on issues that previously were ignored. And I think my perspective has certainly brought into focus a set of issues that were not previously worked on by the city council. And it's not because they didn't care about those issues. It's because they didn't have the perspective to recognize why those issues were important and how many families that they were impacting.
So then how does the Bostonian see you as, being apart from the other candidates? In other words, have you been the only woman focusing on the issues that you just raised, or how are you different from the others?
I think we're having some technical difficulties. I hope. Are we okay? Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think the electorate, sees me differently in that I have been unafraid to work on those issues that people have found provocative or controversial. For example, as a part of a broad-based coalition, I led the charge on the municipal level to have a comprehensive sex and health education curriculum implemented within our wellness policy.
We have a caller calling in. Caller, please ask our City Council at large, Ayanna Pressley. Please speak.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, my question is for Councilman Ayanna Pressley. What are your new goals for your next term?
Okay. Well, okay. Well, first caller, what's your name?
Kevin.
Okay, Kevin, and where do you live?
Boston.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you for calling in. So I don't have any new priorities because I work on very big issues. My work is about breaking cycles of poverty, which we do by creating better opportunities for education and employment, making sure there's an equity and access to those opportunities, and breaking cycles of violence in every form and reducing trauma in our communities. So how I approach that may change. The initiatives that I champion to do that may change. But those are the three issues that I'm committed to, and I also continue to fight for women and girls and the stabilization of all our families, whether you're a grandparent raising a grandchild, a family of one living in the dawn of your life or in the twilight of your life. I just want the city to work for you. I will share two priorities that I think support that agenda. I'm going to continue to advocate for a greater investment in adult basic education and ESOL. Those wait lists continue to grow. We've seen a lot of programs that were threatened to be shuttered, and I fought to protect those programs and to increase their capacity. I think we have a lot of emphasis on the need to educate our young people, which is important, but the reality is that the best gift we can give a young person is a stable adult. And many of our adults are not stable because of unemployment and underemployment, and they need to, attain more education in order to be competitive in the workforce. So I'll continue to fight for a greater investment with city dollars in adult basic education and in ESOL. The other issue that I'll be working on, that I started to work on really the last year, is to reform a state law, and that is to lift the cap on liquor licenses. I think every neighborhood needs to have a thriving main streets, and you cannot have a thriving main streets without successful restaurants. And I want every neighborhood to have the opportunity to be prosperous. And the current state law is hurting small business and hurting our neighborhoods because the process is cost prohibitive and confusing. And the state currently decides how those licenses are distributed. And I want the city to decide how those licenses are distributed and ensure that we have a better equity and opportunity to have thriving main streets.
That's great. Caller, are you okay with that? All right, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for calling in again.
Okay.
It was great.
It's very lively.
yeah, that's wonderful.
Thank you for having me.
So now you'll be working with the new mayor, and we don't know who's that's going to be between either John or Marty, right? So, but I'm sure regardless of whoever is going to be, what are some of the top priorities, issues that haven't been addressed before that you want to tell the mayor? The new mayor about?
Well, I'm so glad you asked that question because I do think that my first election and my re-election and the results of yesterday are really a testament and a mandate, not to me, although I'm very proud of my team and fortunate to have support throughout our city, but I think it's really a mandate of that agenda and those issues that I champion. And I think it's a mandate and it's validation that these are issues that the entire city cares about. Issues like sexual violence, issues like trafficking, issues that, when not addressed, like poverty, that really erode at the fabric of us and break the bonds of community. I believe that these issues that disproportionately impact women and girls and also our LGBT community have been overlooked in the mayoral discourse and debate to date, which is why I have partnered with a coalition of women and LGBT advocacy groups to create an initiative called Elevate Boston. And those organizations range from the Boston Area Rape Crisis Center to the National Organization for Women, Mass Equality, NARAL, the Mass Alliance on Teen Pregnancy, just to name a few. And we've had one press conference. We submitted questionnaires to all of the mayoral candidates about issues that are of unique concern to women and girls in the LGBT community. And we will be having a candidates forum on these issues.
Wonderful.
On October 16th.
Okay.
And I think it is critical and that the electorate has mandated, given my election, that the next mayor take these issues seriously.
That's wonderful. So now what do you see Boston in the future, perhaps 10 years, 20 years, based on your own perspective?
Oh, what do I think will happen in the next 10 years?
Yes. It's kind of hard.
Yeah, that's difficult.
Future,
that's difficult to predict.
Maybe more jobs created. Improve the employment rate. Who knows?
Well, I want the very best for this city, and I think that the way that we achieve that is not by government developing those fixes or working on the problems that face us alone, or community doing it alone, or clergy doing it alone. We really have to continue to work in coordinated partnership. We have to collaborate.
Always,
Absolutely. And so, that would be my sort of broad stroke hope, that by working collaboratively, we can continue to strengthen and advance and transform the city of Boston. There are wonderful things about this city. I'm proud to represent all 22 neighborhoods, 625,000 people.
Wow.
But for as long as we have only some families who know prosperity, and only some families who know peace in their neighborhoods, and only some children who have a quality education, then we have failed, because success that isn't shared really isn't success at all.
Right. So now talking about Dorchester and how diverse the community is,
Yes.
So
That's why I live here. I call it.
That's right,
I
that's
call
right.
Dorchester my home.
right. So to the Vietnamese American community, we call Fuse Corner our home. As you
Yes.
know, more than 15,000
Yes.
Vietnamese American and over 200 businesses that
Yes,
are owned by
and,
them.
and my campaign
So-
headquarters is in Fields Corner, by
Oh,
the
really?
way. Yes,
That's great.
so I'm
So do you-
contributing to the neighborhood economy.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
yes.
So do you have diverse bilingual staff?
I do have a diverse staff. I think it's very important that you have a staff that reflects the diversity of the city so that people feel a stakehold in
Right.
their government and that you are
Right.
accessible and that you are available. And if you, don't have that diversity reflected in gender or in race or in language, it's important that you have people that exercise those sensitivities
Right.
and are culturally competent. And
Yes.
I've certainly worked hard to assemble a team, a very competent and compassionate team,
Right.
that are sensitive, that are culturally competent, and very accessible and responsive. And that really is the mark of any elected official,
Right.
is how accessible and responsive you are to your constituents.
Right. So now talking about who you are. Okay, we know your work and your
Okay.
achievement. Why did you decide to run at the beginning?
Oh, yes. Well, first I have to credit that to my mother, which really does speak to the importance of instilling and planting that seed early in your child, how important it is to civically engage
Yeah.
and your civic duty to vote. My mother took me with her to the polling place every time she voted.
Yeah.
So that planted a seed.
see.
She was a community activist and organizer, and so that demonstrated to me really that we have the right to fight for better schools and jobs and housing and the power of community and what is possible when we work with government. So I think my mother planted the seed.
I see.
But ultimately, I was recruited to run for political office, which is true for most women.
I see.
And we need more women to run for office.
Absolutely.
It's really important so that the policies that are being shaped include everyone.
Yeah. So we're almost running out of
Okay,
time.
yeah, I
So
understand.
one last thing you want to tell the audience, why should they vote for you?
Yes. Well, it's been my honor to serve as one of your 4 at-large Boston City Councilors representing this entire city for 4 years. I'm running for election to a 3rd term. I hope you'll consider me for one of your 4 votes so that I can continue to fight for women and girls, to stabilize all of our families, and to break cycles of poverty and violence in our city.
Okay, thank you so much. I think that we're running out of time, and so we truly appreciate
Thank you for
that you
having
made
me.
the effort to be here.
Yes,
And congratulations.
I hope you'll
on
have me
winning.
back.
Absolutely.
Okay, all right.
Anytime.
Okay,
you're
I'll be
available.
back.
Okay.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And please enjoy the rest of the evening. And please call us if you have any question. Again, you can call VATV at 617-822-3717, or you can contact them via email, vatv@vatv.org. Thank you so much for watching our show tonight, and I hope you enjoy the conversation with our City Councilor at large, Ayanna Pressley. Have a good evening. Thank you.